Hey guys, and welcome back to Front End Hero. So we're going to continue on this little series here and wrap up this header part here today. So in the previous video, we sorted out this search kind of functionality, and now we're going to sort out this mobile menu. So once we click this, then we kind of see the mobile menu here with the drop downs and stuff like that. So let's dig into this now. Okay, so first thing we need to do is pop back into our index.html file. And let's have a look for the hamburger. So what we actually need to do is add another class to it so it animates out. So in this CSS kind of hamburger library, there are a few different animations we can choose from. So we can squeeze it, there's a little arrow here and so on. What I like to do in most of my projects is actually use this collapse guy here. So click this and it's kind of nice and subtle, I think. So I'll right click that and I'll just copy the CSS here. And then I'll pop this guy in here. So that's it there. So now we've got hamburger, and this little animation here is called hamburger collapse. So now back into our main.js file, we can get rid of this page here. What we're going to do is to create a new little area for this toggle functionality. So I'm going to add it down here, and I'll call it something like toggle mobile primary nav, something like that. Okay, so I'm going to create a function again called toggle mobile primary nav. Pretty descriptive, I think. Yeah, so we're going to declare a variable called hamburger. And we'll say something like document dot get element by ID, and that is hamburger. Okay, so we have our little variable here now, and now we need to add in an event listener. So when we click the kind of button there, the hamburger, then we can do something with it. So I'll say hamburger dot add event listener, and then I'll say I want it to run when a click happens. And then just give it a little function here. And just to test it, I'll say something like click in the console.log statement. So let's bring up the inspector panel here and click. Oh, of course, we need to actually run it, don't we? So let me just pop in the function there, save, and try that again. Okay, so it's all connected up. What we probably want to do is, once we click this, we want to, like in the CSS hamburger website, we want to make it, like turn it into an X. So what I'll do is say something like hamburger dot class list dot toggle. And the secret sauce to do that is to add a class called isActive. So once we save that now, and we click, boom. And then we click again because it's the toggle function. And that works quite nicely. Okay. Now, the next thing I'd like to do is probably, I think I'm going to add another class to the body. So I'll say something like, once I click this and then the mobile navigation is open, I'll add it to the body saying something like, I don't know, nav is toggled, something like that. So let's add that in now. So I'll say document dot body class lists, and again we'll toggle the class name. Nav is toggled, and let's test this out now. So we want it in the body tag here. Yep, and then click it again, and then it gets removed. Okay, so let's make this menu show now. What we're going to do, because we have this toggle function here in the body, we're going to use that nav is toggled, and just go down here below the current primary nav area, and we'll say body.nav is toggled, and let's say, let's copy these here, and let's give the opacity a value of 1 and the visibility a value of visible. Okay, and then we'll pop in our primary nav. Okay, that's refreshed. Give it a quick check here. Okay, lovely stuff. So now our menu shows, which is great. We just need to kind of play around with this because obviously it still has the desktop styles associated with it. So we just need to make it full width and move it down here underneath the logo and the search area. So let's style this now. And what I'll probably do is comment out these areas for the moment, because otherwise I'd have to keep clicking the hamburger icon. So if I do that, and then I'll comment out this part here for the body.nav is toggle class. So now we're just kind of dealing with the primary nav as is. We can uncomment this later on. Save that. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is align the top part and say something like 10 rem for the moment. Okay. We probably need to give that a bit of a border just to see what's going on also. Okay, so 10 rem is a little bit too much. Let's say 7 rem. Getting closer. 6.8. I'd say 6.6 and now we're good. So I'm just currently eyeballing it at the moment. That looks okay. So 6.6 rem seems to be the good number here. And then I'm going to say width is actually 100%. Okie dokie. And we'll just move this in a bit by saying we probably need to give this a left property too. So we'll say left 0. Save that. And there we go. Lovely. And as we have this placed exactly where we want it, just under the kind of logo and search area, now we just need to make these list items 100% width and one on top of the other. So they're currently flexed at the moment in a row. But what we can do is say something like indent this in a bit. So I'll just target the first direct descendant unordered list. And let me see. I think that looks okay. And because it's flex, it's currently a row by default. I'll just change the flex direction to column. Save that. And like magic, it just appears exactly how we want it. Okay, great. So getting there, we just need to tweak it a little bit more. So it's still obviously using the desktop kind of drop down style here. Now, next up, what we want to probably do is check out the margins on the list items. So currently we have a margin left here of 1 rem. Let's remove that now. So again, I'll use another direct descendant operator and I'll just say margin 0. Save that. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm going to give it a border. So I'll give it a bottom border of something like 1 pix solid red for the moment. Okay, cool. Just so that the separation between the links are pretty clear. So instead of red, as I always tend to do, I'm going to give it a global style of maybe, let's try light gray. Yeah, that's pretty legible. So I'm going to leave that there for the moment. I can probably get rid of this solid red border now. Okay, looking good. Okay, so let's now inspect the links, the anchor elements. So obviously when we hover over these guys now, we have this kind of curved effect. We don't really want that on mobile, so I'm going to remove that. And again, I'll just go kind of down here, copy and paste this. And then I will say, I'll give it a global kind of, I don't need to use the direct descendants, I guess. I'll just use a global kind of anchor, like catch-all rule. So get rid of this here. And I'll say border radius is 0. I may need to use an important statement here. Let's check. I think I do. That's fine. I've no problem using them on mobile view. Save that. Okay, that looks good. But we also need to do the submenus too, which is no problem. So we can just piggyback off this style here and just target the submenu. I think that's it there. Yep. So let's try this now. UL submenu, save. Perfect. Yep. Okay, another kind of piece done there. Now let's try, I think, and make the submenu 100%. So just the way these top level links are now. And we can just say, actually, we can just pop it in here, I think is okay. We can just say width is 100% for the submenu, and it will inherit the anchor element too, which is fine. Okay, looking good, looking good. So next up, what I want to do is fix this submenu. Because currently when we hover over it, it's positioned absolutely. Let me check there. Yep. So what I want to do is make it relative. So it will actually fit in between the links there and not just overlay it. So let's do that now. So I'll just pop it in down here. And again, we'll just say primary nav. And we only kind of want to target the, I guess we could just say ul.submenu. So let's say position relative, save that. And yes, we've got a bit of an issue here. So let me see. The entire submenu is kind of taking up this space, which is expected. But I think what I'm going to have to do is sort that out with JavaScript in a little bit. But it's fine for the moment. We can actually style it, and that's not a problem. So let's sort that in a little bit, and let's concentrate right now on these colors and styles and stuff like that for the dropdown. Okay, so back into our CSS file, and what we'll simply do is to target the submenu kind of links, and I'll just pop this just under here. So I'll say submenu, all the links inside here. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, they're white at the moment. If I just inspect them there. Yeah, so we can see they're actually white at the moment. So we need to change that first. Okay, so let's give these drop-down anchor elements a different color. So currently they are white. We are going to say, I think body text is a good shout. So we'll say body text to kind of match the rest of the links. And that's great. Okay, so we need to show these menus now because currently they are hidden. So let's pop back into this this area here where we're actually hiding them. And I think that's up above somewhere. Yeah. So let's just comment these out again, just so we can see it while we're kind of working away on it. Oh, we don't want to actually comment out position absolute. We need that. So just these two lines here. Save that, and now we can see all of our submenus. Fantastic. What I'd like to do is indent for each kind of child element, is indent it by a few kind of rem. So let's do this now. And again, popping back into our media queries and just down here. Okay, so what I'm going to say is something like padding left 3 rem, maybe 4, because I think I've got a little idea actually, just to make it a bit more styled. Yeah, okay. So actually what we should probably do first is get rid of this blue background, just so we can see things a bit more clearly. Okay, so in here, position relative, the color currently is set to the drop-down menu, which is submenu. Yes, so submenu, I'll just change the background here real quick. And I'll say, I think I'll change it to light gray and see how that looks. Oh, a bit too dark, I think. So maybe something like lighter gray. Perfect, that looks pretty good. Okay, so continuing on with these links here. So they're indented now, and I think I'd like to add like a little kind of list style. So what I'll do is utilize the themify library again. And let's have a look what we could use here. Because I'm sure they must have something. Oh, it might be called minus or something like that. Perfect. So we can use this guy. Just looking for the kind of code here before. And I'll just copy and paste all of this. Get rid of that. And then paste this in a little bit here. Okay, so we're going to target the anchor link here and create a pseudo element for these children here. And what I'll do, yeah, I think I'll just do that. So copy and paste the anchor element here, paste that in, copy that's the code, and we're ready to rock and roll. So we're going to say pseudo, so before elements, put this content character back in, and because it's a font family essentially, we're going to say, like previously, font family, theme, ify. Save that. Yes, first time. I honestly wasn't expecting that to show straight away. That's great. So we got this guy here now, and I'm just going to kind of position it. So we'll say position absolute. Save that, and that's just here, no problem. Let's move it in a bit. So we'll say left, first of all, 0 to see where actually it goes. Okay, so 0%, or yeah, 0% here. What about 2 rem? Actually, 2 rem would be too much, I think. Yep, 1 rem. A bit more, maybe 1.5 rem. Yeah, that looks good to me. That looks good to my eye. Okay, so I think kind of eyeballing these drop downs here, they look pretty clear, but I think I'm going to color coordinate these to coincide with this lighter gray background color. So I think that's next. Yeah, let's do that now. So let's fit this in just here. So primary nav ul.sub hyphen menu, and we'll say we want to target the dd hyphen arrow span. Again, 1 pixel solid red. Oh no, of course not. It's not the sub menu, is it? It's the link. Okay, I think that's it there, and that's great. So that's targeting that there perfectly. Now let's kind of style this. So it's quite small for mobile view. It's fine on desktop, but let's make this the kind of same height as this the link kind of element here. So let's do that now. And first of all, let's give it the color of the drop-down menu. So background is lighter gray. Yeah, I think lighter gray, that's it. Yep. Okay. Now let's say the height is 100%. And okay, we still need to do a few more things to it, which is fine. So let's say we want to position it to the top of the link. Let's say top 0. Lovely stuff. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Okay, there we go. So it's currently 0% from the top, and we'll say to the right, we want the same thing. So we'll say right 0. And let's have a quick peek at this here. Right is 1 rem. Okay, we could use important statements here, fine. But just because we've got it here handy, what I'm going to do is include the li.menu item has children class, and this should make our styles work now. Okay, lovely stuff. So now we've got a height here that's taking effect of 100%. It's top 0 and right 0. Now let's give it a width of 5 rem, maybe. Probably a bit too big. Something like 4 rem. Let's zoom out a bit. Not you. A little bit narrow. Let's say 4.5 rem. Yeah, I think that's all right. Okie dokie. So now our little icon has disappeared, but I think it's just down here. It is, it's down here. Okay, it's fine. Okie dokie. So last thing I think we need to do here is to remove the border radius here again. So border radius is 0. I think that's okay. Yep, that's been removed there. Lovely stuff. And they've all been removed. Okie dokie. Now let's see why this icon has disappeared. So there's the, oh, I see, right. So the DD arrow is absolute. Yeah. And it's not taking, it's not in relation to the parent, which is the anchor element. It's taking effect of the next element that has position relative, which is actually the list item. And it is there. Okay. So what we need to do is make these parent links position relative. So what we could do is, actually, I think we could do this in the kind of quote unquote desktop view. So let's go up here and let's look for the primary navigation here. And I think we can just pop it in here instead. So let's say position relative, save that. Okay, lovely. That's back there. And let's see it on desktop, see if we buggered anything up. No, that looks okay. Obviously, these guys are showing because we commented out some parts that make it show, but that's okay. I think we can do that. So let's pop back into mobile view here. Now, next up, I think we're going to make this icon a little bit bigger. So again, go down to our media query area. And I'll just copy this class here, paste that in again to reuse it, and tweak it a little bit. So menu item has children, DD arrow. Oh, we actually don't need that bit there, I think. It's kind of repeated. Okay, so DD arrow, and we'll say the pseudo elements is after. And we'll give the font size something like 2 rem to see how that looks. Oh, that's way too big. Let's scale that down a bit. So I think currently it's just 1 rem. We could say 1.3 rem. I think that's a good compromise there. 1.3 looks okay. Okay, so next up, I think what I'm going to do is, so each top level link has a border. These look okay as is, but I'm going to add a border to these kind of drop down links as well. Or the list items, the parent. Yeah, I think I'll do that now. So I'll add a little border into these links here as well now. Okay. So I can just place this in here. And then say li, just like that. So let's say border top is 1 pixel, solid, where are we? Light gray, I think. Yes, light gray. Okay, lovely. Now, the next part I think I'll tackle is these transitions here. So they're fine on desktop, but from mobile view, I don't want to show these transitions, such as the background color change and the indenting. So I'm going to remove these for mobile view now. So first we need to go back up to our primary nav here. Yeah. And because we created these kind of desktop classes, this is quite easy to achieve. Okay. So let's start with this guy here first. Primary nav, top level link. And once we hover over a link, then we change the background color. So if I remove this now, we don't get that on the main links here that don't have children. Okay, so it works for desktop fine, and because we have that class, I'm going to utilize it, and it's called desktop view. So what I'm going to do is say body.desktop view, primary nav, yes, hover. So save that, And now we can see top level links that don't have children, don't have any background color on hover. And if I have a look at the desktop view now, they display just fine. Perfect. Now let's tackle, let me see, pop you back there. So now let's tackle the indenting. So this is, so once we hover over a class, we get margin left here. Okay, so I'll find this now, and that's there. Okay, so again, body.desktop view, save that, and now that's static. And again, desktop, it works fine. Lovely stuff. Okay, getting there. Okay, so now the next part is we just need to remove this kind of blue border here for links that have children. Okay, it's, where are you? This is it here. Okie dokie. And again, we'll just say body.desktop view. Save that. And it kind of only shows on the dd-arrow span tag. Okay, we can sort that out too while we're here. Body.desktop view. I think that's it there. And just this one here as well. This is the area that rotates it. So again, body.desktop view, save. And now that is perfect. That's taking everything kind of back to bare bones. So click the menu, shows this here. And even if we hover kind of on it here, it won't show any kind of desktop styles. Let's just have a quick peek at the desktop again, just to see that these styles are working, which they are. Lovely. Okay. Next part I think will be, let me see now. I probably need to add a little border in here, actually. So let me do this now real quick. DD arrow, which is just here. And I think we need to pop it in here. No, let's try this. So let's say border left, 1 pix solid. Actually, let's just say the color. So we'll say var light gray. Save that. That looks pretty good, but it's still kind of, I think what I want to do is remove the bottom kind of border here from this, because it does look like it's connected, I guess, but I'd rather it kind of like look super clear. So I'm just going to try and remove this border now. And how I'm going to do that is, let me see. Okay. What I think I'm going to do is the following. So this drop down arrow, DD arrow, is 100% height, but we need to take in account of the border, which is only 1 pixel. So I think what I'll do is say something like calc 100% minus 1 pixel. Save that. Oh no, what we need to do is actually add a pixel in. So let's do that now. So instead of subtraction, which we now have a tiny little white gap here, add this pixel in, and I could see that go down there, which is great. But I think it's being hidden by this menu. So all we'll do in this case then is say, because it's kind of behind it, we're going to say we want to show it in front. And we'll say Z index is 1. Save that, and bingo, there we go. Exactly the way I kind of envisioned it. Okay, perfect. That looks quite nice to me, and it looks like it's definitely, if I remove the inspector panel, I think these top level navigation menus look like they're connected here. So I think that looks fine for the moment. What I'm going to do is kind of hide these menus again. And then we can work on the functionality of actually clicking the submenus and showing these, like toggling these just the way we did with this hamburger. So let's do that now. So first off, I'm going to hide these again. The primary nav, and need to remove this comment too for the body.nav is toggled. Save that. So now our menu is gone. We click the hamburger now, and that looks pretty good, I think. Close that. Let's hide these submenus here, and then we can edit this area here to kind of, once we click these drop-down menus, then it will show each individual submenu. So let's close that there. Okay, we've got a bit of an issue here. So once we click close, this kind of jerks up here. We should probably fix that first, I think. Why does it do that? So we got, yeah. Oh, okay. So I think, give me 1 second here, actually. If I change these to here, bear with me. So if I try this now, show and hide. Ah, yes. Okay, so a little oversight there. So what I did was, instead of manipulating the width and position of the primary nav on the fly, when the class nav is toggled, is added, I've added it directly into the primary nav. Now with that fixed, now let's move on to the drop-down menus. Okie dokie. So I need to make another new little section here, and I'll probably place it down below here. I'll stick it into the bottom here. So here is where I'm going to create an area that will, again, show and hide these, or toggle these drop-down menus. So I'll call this area something like toggle mobile primary nav sub menus. Not exactly short and sweet, but there you are. And we'll call our function toggle mobile sub menus. Yep. Okay. So let's declare some variables. The first one will be submenus, because that is what we want to target. Yes. Submenus. Yes. Okay. So const submenus is equal to document dot. Now we're not using get element ID because we don't have any ID here. So we need to use our target the class. So we'll say document dot get selector. What is it? Query selector, that's it. Query selector all, because we'd like to target all of them, not just the first one. And we'll say sub menu. Yeah. And then we need to target the kind of drop down icon here, DD arrow. So again, const DD arrows document dot query selector all. And that is span.dd hyphen arrow, I believe. Yep. So because we've got 4 drop-down menus and in turn 4 drop-down toggles, DD arrows, we're going to have to run a loop and loop through these DD arrows. So let's do that now. Okay, so first of all, we're going to grab the DD arrows variable, pop this here, and say for each function, and close that off there. So it's basically going to add, we need to add this in here actually. So DD arrows, then we'll add a DD arrow, just like that. Yep. So let's open up the console here real quick. And because we've got 4 kind of span arrows here, some DD arrows, we should get 4 console log statements. Test or test. Save that. And again, we need to actually run the function. So I'll pop this in here now and save that. And then we get 4 tests. Okay, lovely. Remove the console statement and let's carry on. So the loop is working. We've got our DD arrow variable here for each kind of DD arrow. Now let's add an event listener in. So each time we click 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then we can toggle these to open and close, which they are currently all open. So I need to kind of close these in a little bit. But for the moment, let's carry on. So let's add an event listener in to, where are we? To each DD arrow. And we'll say DD arrow add event listener. And we want people to click it for it to run. Click, that's it. And we'll say function and give it a little parameter there for the event. And let's close this off here. Oh, I've got an error. What am I missing here? Ah, that's it. One too many kind of closing brackets. Okay, and let's check a cheeky little console.log statement here, just to check that everything is working okay. And I'll say click. So each time we click on one of these drop-down arrows, we get, oh, of course, yes. So it's still a link at the end of the day. What am I talking about? So if we have a look here, the span tag is clearly inside the A link, and that's going to carry on to the link here. So let's get rid of that because that won't work, or let's just comment it out for the moment. So first of all, we need to stop the link kind of running only on the DD arrow. This link is fine here. So let's see here, we've got a span and then we got our link there. Because we've added a Z index to this is going to be kind of above the link area, which won't affect it, which won't affect the main link. So this will only kind of show and hide the drop-down menu. So first off, to stop this linking through, we're going to have to say our event e.prevent defaults, and that's it there. So save this, and let's do a quick test. Okay, great. So every time we click on these drop-down arrows now, they do nothing. But if I click a link, it follows through fine. Okay, lovely. And I can get rid of this. Actually, it's working fine, so I don't need to test it. Pop this back up here. And I think now is a good time to kind of pause for a sec and let's hide these submenus again. So again, our style.css, I'm just going to search for the submenu where we previously kind of commented the visibility and the opacity styles. So get rid of these now, save. So now that when we actually open this hamburger menu, yeah, I guess technically it works. I do need to add a class in here, probably. And let me see. So it's submenu, it's relative, yes. Right, so it's relative here for the moment, which is fine, you know, if we're hovering over it or whatever, but that's not exactly the functionality we need. So for the moment, let's go to our media queries. This game is so not linear. You need to jump around all of the time, but it's fun. Okay, so here it is here. So it's position relative. Let's remove that for the moment. Give that a refresh. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is once we click this here, I'm going to add a class called maybe isActive, something like that. So that's what I think I'm going to do. So once one of these top level links has a class of isActive, then we can make the submenu position relative. Let's do this now real quick. So just down here, let's say primary nav li menu item has children. And let's say this, again, has a class which we will add through JavaScript in a moment. And then the submenu will have a position of relative. Save that. So in our JavaScript, we'll add this in now. Okay, let's declare a variable called Li has children, and we'll say this dd arrow. So we want to target the, let me see, the arrow here, up one level, up two. So we want to target this here, this menu item has children. So we'll say this dot parent node. And again, to go up another level, we'll say again dot parent node. So what we're going to do essentially is, once we click on one of these drop down arrows here, we're going to go up here 2 levels, 2 parent nodes, and say, and just basically check if it has a class of active or not. So we'll do this now. So Li has children, and we'll just say if Li has children dot class list dot contains a class called just, I think, active for the moment. Okay, so just for the moment, I'm just going to say console.log yes, contains active class. And down below this, I'll say, copy and paste this whole string here, and just say, if it doesn't contain the active class, we'll say console.log no. Doesn't contain active class. Save that, no errors. Okay, so click here. So we don't have an active class attached, so we should be getting this guy here. No, doesn't contain active class. So let's check this now. We click, no, doesn't contain active class. Perfect. Okay, lovely stuff. So back to the if-else statement. If the parent list item has a class of active, we want to remove it. So we'll say list item.children, which is here, and we'll say class list dot remove active. Or if the menu hasn't been opened, we'll say we want to add the class in. So copy and paste this dot class list dot add. Okay, moment of truth. Let's test it now. So click here. Excellent. So this works great. Okay, great. So this seems to work. So we'll try that again. Click, and the class of active is added. We click it again, and it's removed. Lovely. But obviously, there's a bit of an issue here still. Once we kind of hover over it, the menu kind of displays. So we need to tweak that in the CSS now. So into our CSS, we're going to look for submenu, and here it is here. So we just need to add the body.desktop view class again, and I think that's it there. That's the last one we probably should be encountering. Save that, and that's great. That solved that issue there now. So now when we kind of click this drop-down menu, we have another issue. Okay. Oh, I see. Because body.desktop view. I see. So what we need to do is actually copy and paste these because it's still hidden here. We're giving it a position of relative, which is in the media queries, but we also need to make it visible. So let's do this now. And I think we're getting close to wrapping this up. So primary nav, li menu has children.active. The UL submenu is relative, and now it is visible. Fingers crossed. Click. Perfect. Excellent. So that's the functionality working there. Let's check on desktop. Things are working quite nicely. Yeah, I'm happy, very happy with that. I see just two little errors at the moment. So the first one is the bottom kind of border here. It was fine when we opened it up here, like it looks great, but we do need to add that border in when those drop-down menus are hidden. So let's sort that first. And I think how I'm going to sort that out is, let's look for that height again. So calc 100% plus 1. If I say 100% just on its own, lovely. Okay, then we get the border. Okay, fine. So by default, the DD arrow icon area link thing is 100%. And then once we add an active class by clicking it, then we can make it that little bit extra, that 100% height plus 1 pixel. So I'm going to copy and paste this, drop it in there. Yeah. Height. Oh. So li-menu item has children.active. Save that. And hopefully this will kind of solve this issue. So I click here. Perfect. That's it. That was quite easy. So do that. And we get the border, we toggle back, and it's gone. Perfect. So that's one of those issues sorted now. The next one is, you may have already noticed, but once we click one of these menus, this icon kind of stays the same. We just need to kind of add that in again. So it's working on desktop. So we hover, and then the arrow switches from down to up. So, okay. We've already got the functionality there. Let's just add it in. Let us look for the original code, which is rotate. That's it there. Pop back down and put it in. Yeah, pop it in here. So remove the body.desktop view. Get rid of the hover. Add an active class. And that's it there. So primary nav menu item has children.active, and then the arrow, the pseudo element, is rotated. Test that now. Click. Perfect. That's it. So I think that menu is pretty obvious for someone using this website on, say, a mobile device. If you click here, it should indicate that actually, yes, this has a drop down and it has some sublinks. And if I click this here, it brings us to a page. Hopefully that's the intention anyway. Hopefully that's fairly clear. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I think that looks okay. Let me just test things around a bit. Search works. If I minimize the website, that works great. If I go into desktop view, our menu is working. We get our little transitions. Search again. Yep, I think we're done here. Well, for the header at least. So I think, well, do you know what? At this point here, we can finally remove this, this red border. So let's do this real quick. Save that now. And there we go. So I think that's it for the moment. Thanks very much for watching again. Hopefully you found some value out of this. And the next section, we're going to be building the hero section. So stay tuned for that. So I guess please subscribe if you'd like to support the channel. And yep, thanks very much again. And catch you guys in the next one.